Hey guys, welcome to my second video on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and preface this by saying that I'm sorry that my fro kind of gets, into the shot. You're gonna see it creep into the video every so often because I actually started this drawing in December. So, there wasn't a whole lot of light, and I usually like working at my desk, but this particular time I wasn't getting enough light. I'm in New York, so it's snowy and, cloudy, gray days. So I attempted to move my workspace to the sliding glass doors near the patio to see how that would work out. So you'll see that this is a different place from the last video. It's on a black IKEA table. I figured I could get more light that way. And, for the most part it worked, but I have to work out some kinks with my editing. And my camera setup, because, as you can tell by looking at it, I was shooting straight down, which was not a good idea, because there are times when, you can read the cap of the Copic marker, but you can't see what I'm drawing. So in the next couple of videos, I'll probably adjust that and, turn the camera so it's at an angle and it's not going straight down, because you'll see my hands get in the way a lot, because I'm that person that when I'm drawing, both of my hands are just, kind of in the frame and kind of in the way. But yeah, I started this drawing in December, and for the first time, I actually drew something and I didn't have a color scheme in mind. So at the very beginning of this video, you'll see on my sketchbook where I was actually playing with an idea of pastel colors with purple for her hair, but I ended up instead going with blonde because I have a lot of yellows. I have a small batch of Copic markers and I have a lot of yellows for whatever reason. I also have Spectrum Noir markers, which I like, but at this point I've had them for about a year and I really can't find refills for them, so they're all pretty much dried out, which is kind of sad. So at the moment I'm using my small batch of Copics and making do. So I went ahead and decided to do blonde hair, and of course I ran into the issue, of doing the lightest thing first. And what that basically meant was I got the hair pretty much perfect, the gradations and colors and shadows perfectly how I wanted it. But then, here I go in, to start doing the skin and making her brown, and I start to realize that, the hair is way lighter than I wanted it to be. And at that point, it's already done. So I kind of had that issue where I really just, wasn't going to go back and fix it. So you'll see me here adding in a lot of shadows, which at the time looked really, really dark against the white paper. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. The shadows are great, and the blending is perfect. So you're gonna see in a little bit later, when I've actually put in the skin, that it's a lot lighter than what I originally planned. But I don't know, I kind of like it. It's not what I would normally go with. I'm usually like, very bright colors and bold pinks and turquoises, but this time I decided to go out of my comfort zone a little bit and make something that was a little bit more monochromatic. So you're going to see, pretty much a very brown color scheme, but then you're going to have that yellow coming out. So we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so here I was messing around with the shade of her eyes, And you'll see off to the side there me messing around with a couple of browns to try and get, some shades that are close enough together that it's not going to be super contrasty between, her eye color and her iris. So basically went with some browns. And I think originally in the sketch, I meant for her eyes to be all one shade, but you're gonna see here that I basically did a gradation on her eyes, which I don't really know how much I like it, but every drawing for me is an experiment, so I'm always trying something new and then seeing what I like and what I don't like. Okay, so and now we begin coloring in her skin, and you're gonna actually see what that transition looks like when all the brown skin is laid in and you look at the hair and it's just so much lighter. And at that point I wasn't going backwards to fix the hair because the shadows were already a lot darker than what I wanted, so I didn't want to really go back with that lighter yellow and kind of screw up the good blending I had gotten done. So I think I went over the skin, I want to say one time. Normally I usually try and go over the skin twice, but in this case I didn't, because I was originally going to go in and do a green underlayer, but then I forgot because this has taken like a couple months for me to get this done because it's been sitting on the table. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with the color scheme, so it was literally just like a couple months of it just sitting there while I mustered the energy to get up and actually do something with it and finish it. So you're gonna see here me just dropping in some quick, easy cell shading. I didn't do anything spectacularly realistic with this because that's not really my style. So, I wanted to go with some simple shading on the skin that I wasn't gonna mess up too badly. Leave it at that. Because her hair is really the focal point because there's just so many layers, and I really wanted that to stand out because it's very big, very curly hair. But the thing that I really love about brown skin specifically is that you can go in with some really interesting colors. Like, you're going to see me use a purple here to add shading, and I think that's what's really fun is you can use a lot of purples and greens and really get in there and make some really rich, colorful shadows, which I don't want to say you can't do that with lighter skin, but with darker skin you get a little bit more leeway when it comes to colors. And you're going to see me go in with some colored pencil as well because some of those shadows didn't transition well because the purple that I used was running out of ink, and I wasn't going to stop filming and go fill it back up and come back into the room, so I was like, I'll just fix that with a close enough colored pencil to the original skin tone, then I could just blend that right out. But yeah, that's an interesting feature of Copic markers, that when they start to dry out on certain papers, it creates a very streaky, shiny effect. And this paper that I'm using is actually Copic brand paper. It's one of their 5x11 sketchbooks that they discontinued. So this is my first time really using the name brand paper with Copic. So, you know, it's interesting seeing what happens when the markers dry out and you still try and use them, because on other papers it's not necessarily so noticeable. Okay, so this is months later when I finally decided to sit down and finish it. And, you know, I didn't really have an idea of what to do with her shirt and with the speech bubble. I hadn't really planned any particular color scheme for either of those things. So with the top, I went with a brown color scheme to really blend in with her skin. And then since I want the speech bubble to stand out, I decided to give it a really golden yellow background for the letters to kind of pop up off of. And I added a pattern to the top, and this isn't the first time I've done that. I've done that a couple of times in some sketchbooks. I freehanded it, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. For the lettering, I went with a more reddish brown. I mean, it's still in the brown family, but it's pops up off the page a little bit more. Yeah, I don't really think I planned anything too intricate with that. I just decided to fill them in and add some highlights, because since it's just a very basic hand lettering that I did on this, I really didn't, you know, have anything to make it necessarily better. So it's just like, I'll just fill this in and, you know, outline the letters with black so they stand out a little bit more. And you're gonna see me go back and fill in some pieces of the hair that I missed, and, you know, just filled them in with a darker color since all of those areas are pretty much in shadow anyway. So yeah, here's an example of my hand getting in the shot because I'm shooting straight down instead of at an angle. So, you know, in the next couple of videos that will probably change. But for the time being, I'm just trying to get stuff videoed and posted up on YouTube because I think it's a good source of, you know, getting views and having people see your work. So and I think afterwards I just went back and recolored in the outline of black that's around her, because obviously when you're coloring over your line art with markers, sometimes those lines can fade a little bit, so I pretty much cut that out because that's just boring. I'm just outlining her again in black, but to kind of darken that outline. You see me add some white highlights to the letters here. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, but this is pretty fun.